This is one of the most iconic Pokemon artworks in modern era. But I believe its greatness is not measured in its value, but rather I think greatness is measured in something that most collectors never notice. A story hidden in plain sight. Take a moment and just observe the card. Where did your eyes end up? For me, my eyes eventually leaves Lugia and meets the frightened fisherman. At first, I thought I was reading too much into it, but the more I studied the artwork, the more I realized this wasn't an accident. Compared to Giratina V from Lost Origin, Shinji Kanda invites the observer to begin at Giratina, then wander through the surrounding chaos. You're invited to explore every corner of the artwork because there isn't a single destination. But Kawaii does something completely different. Kawaii uses a compositional technique known as the golden spiral. For centuries, artists have used the golden spiral to naturally guide the viewer's eyes through an image. The golden spiral creates the feeling of movement, rotation, and continuation. However, Kawaii uses it to create a sense of spiraling out of control, like a violent hurricane or crashing wave. Your eyes begin at Lugia, sweeps through the storm and crashing waves, and finally comes to a rest. Right here, the smallest figure of the artwork. And that raises an interesting question. Why would an artist create one of the most iconic modern Lugia cards ever made, only to guide our eyes away from Lugia? At first, it doesn't make sense. This is Lugia, one of the most recognizable legendary Pokemons ever created. If anything should be the center of attention, it should be this Lugia. But instead, our journey through the artwork ends with an ordinary fisherman. Why would Kawaii do this? I think the answer lies in the card this artwork is based on. It's the same Lugia card from the same set, yet tells a completely different story. Here, Lugia is the entire focus. It's a powerful portrait of the beast of the sea. This one tells you who Lugia is. However, the alternate art tells you what it feels like to encounter Lugia. Kawaii introduces a lone fisherman, and that changes everything. With him, we suddenly understand the scale, the power, the fear, and the awe. It is as if we're witnessing the beast of the sea through the eyes of someone who unexpectedly encountered a force of nature. In that sense, the fisherman isn't just part of the artwork, he becomes our eyes. So who is the focus? Is it Lugia? Is it the fisherman? Or is it the encounter between the two? I don't know, let me know what you think. As I continue studying this artwork, I ask myself one final question. What is the story Kawaii trying to communicate in this art? Then, I notice one final detail. Lugia isn't flying towards the fisherman. Lugia is flying away from him. At first, that might not seem important, but when you consider Lugia's lore, it changes everything. According to the Pokédex, Lugia's wings are so powerful they can blow apart houses. With a single flap of Lugia's wings, it can create devastating storms. Because of that overwhelming power, Lugia chooses to live in the depths of the ocean, away from people. And I can't help but wonder if this is intentional. Maybe this isn't a story about Lugia terrifying a fisherman. Maybe it's a story about Lugia protecting him by distancing itself from the fisherman in danger. What first looked like a monster emerging from the sea now looks like a guardian disappearing into it. I don't know if this is what Kawaii intended, but once I saw it that way, I couldn't unsee it. And maybe that's why this card resonates with so many people. You see, it's easy for us to see the value of this card, but so much harder to see the hidden story in plain sight.